Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining and welcome back. Our guest today is my good friend, Mark Yaxley. He is the Managing Director at Strategic Wealth Preservation. Welcome back, Mark.
Hey, Ivan, good to be back.
Yeah, it's good to have you back on. I wanted to get you on to talk about all the excitement that's happening in the gold and silver market, especially right now, what's happening with Fort Knox and all the excitement about is the gold really there? And Elon, on Twitter, on X, calling out, for an audit and wanted to do a live walkthrough of if the gold is really there at Fort Knox. What do you think that's going to happen with the situation?
Yeah, I mean, based on the actions of Elon thus far and his role with Doge, I think he's probably the right guy for the job, quite frankly. There's been a lack of transparency with regards to the US's Fort Knox holdings for some time. There's a lot of conspiracy theory, and I think we can finally put that to bed. I'm curious to see what's inside. I mean, as a gold guy myself, I'd like to see, what's really in there, and so I'd like to see Elon come through with this promise.
Well, what do you think the repercussions would be, Mark, if like let's say they do an audit and they find out that, the Americans' gold is not actually there, or let's say it is there and it's leased out. A lot of people are saying it could be leased to other places. What are the repercussions? What do you think the outcome would be?
That's a good question. I think there'd be a lack of, a continued lack of trust in the government in general. I think that might be part of the reason that the Trump administration and Elon is interested in pursuing this thread. One, they could revalue the gold. There's also, I've been hearing that that's one of the promises or one of the talking points that they've been making is that they could put today's market value on the gold, which would equate to somewhere around $800 billion, which is substantial. I mean, it's not going to change the course of the US debt situation, but it's enough that it's a good headline for sure, and it's a win for them. But if there's no gold in there or the gold is being leased out, again, it goes to the fact that previous administrations have not properly taken care of the people and the people have a lack of trust in the government in general, and that's what Trump and Elon, I think, are making, they're making that point across the board recently.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, what are you thinking about, I guess, the gold prices and silver prices recently? Like we're hitting all new all-time highs in gold and silver keeps on climbing up. Do you think this is going to continue and why do you think this is happening right now in gold?
Yeah, I mean, the explanation is pretty straightforward. You're basically having a surge in ETF purchases in January. They added over $3 billion globally. A lot of that activity was actually in the European market. There's obviously, with the turn of events and the US government's position on the war in the Ukraine, I think it's making a lot of people nervous in Europe right now, and you're seeing a lot of gold buying in the ETFs there. Also in the retail physical market. Central banks also added record amounts of gold in 2024. So you've got ETFs buying, central banks buying, and even the retail investors who have been a little bit slow to show up are starting to buy. We're starting to see a pickup in volume right now. In fact, I was just reading before our call that overall trading volumes are now at COVID levels,
Wow.
which means there's a lot of metal moving around in the world right now, which is good for the price. And investors who bought in at much lower prices are starting to benefit from that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I wanted to ask you too, Mark, what is your biggest concern right now with the economy? Is it like, the debt levels? Is it what's happening with the interest rates? What would be your biggest concern right now happening?
Yeah, I mean, debt levels, you've been hearing a lot about that, obviously, with the actions in the US, and basically they're trying to cut some of the fat with regards to the federal government and the spending, the overspending, misspending. So that's definitely been top of mind of late because you're still hearing that the US debt is massive. It's still growing at a rate that's unsustainable. So that's definitely been top of mind. I think inflation numbers starting to tick back up in the US is a little bit concerning as well. They thought that they had that under control, and yet they're seeing that inflation is kind of it's not moving in the direction they want. They haven't achieved their ultimate goal after all the rate cuts and so on. So, it's a little bit concerning, perhaps if you're an investor, there's a lot of uncertainty as a result of that. We thought we had this figured out. Now the markets are taking a turn, and you add to all that basically the actions of a volatile president. Love him or hate him, his actions are creating a lot of volatility and uncertainty in the markets. Now, that's great for precious metal investors, but it's
Right.
concerning if you've got a more traditional portfolio and you're not sure what's going to be, what the outcome is going to be there. So, yeah, things to watch would be debt and inflation ticking back up.
Welcome to the Cayman Islands. a premier offshore jurisdiction where natural beauty meets financial stability. Here, your wealth is more than secure. It thrives in one of the most trusted and respected financial centers in the world. For over a decade, SWP has been the trusted choice for precious metal investors worldwide. Our purpose-built 6,000 square foot facility sets a new standard in precious metals storage. Beyond safeguarding your assets, we're committed to making a difference in our community by supporting local causes and events that reflect our values. As we continue to expand and innovate our services, we ensure that your wealth is safe and strategically positioned to shield you from the uncertainties that lie ahead. Strategic wealth preservation, trusted today and ready for tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have so many new members now with everything that's happening in new all-time highs in gold and everything, the excitement that's happening in precious metals. There's so many new members onto this channel. So just to get them, I guess, a little bit of background on you, when did you first started in the precious metals space? How did you get first started? Just to give them a little background about yourself.
Sure. Yeah, I started in the space in 2006. Seems like forever ago, nearly 20 years ago. I've been trading precious metals, for myself at some points in time, but also for some fairly large businesses in the space. Currently run SWP, which is an offshore precious metals trading and storage company. We buy and sell silver on behalf of our clients and store it for them. So yeah, I've been in the space a long time and have basically been doing this every day, and it's really become an international business. It started, as locally focused, and now we deal with a very international clientele, and we try to look at the market and all the different participants and understand it and advise our clients best we can.
What would be the biggest benefit, I guess, like if me personally, I wanted to buy something at SWP and have it stored where you guys are at. What are the benefits? I guess why would someone do that?
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest benefits, if you're thinking about purchasing gold or silver, obviously you've got this amazing hedge against all of the uncertainty, all of the inflation that we touched on a little bit earlier. That's really why you're buying it. It's wealth preservation. If you're working with a company like SWP, it's a company that's been in business for over a decade. We're trusted within the space. We store over $1.4 billion worth of gold and silver for our clients
Wow.
worldwide. And really, why people trust us is we offer them liquidity. You can buy and sell with us at any given time. If your gold is in storage with us, you can sell it to us. You can get paid within 24 hours, just like you can buy, pay us, and have that metal delivered to you quickly. It's fully insured. And most importantly, I mean, it's your personal property. The way that we store the gold and silver is completely allocated and segregated, which means every ounce you own is personal property and you can do whatever you like with it. And that's really important.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Now, what are you seeing at SWP? Because of course, since you're in the business of with the precious metals, you can see, I guess, a little bit more insight than just someone who's looking at it from just like my angle. Are you seeing increased volumes of people storing silver and gold? Are you seeing increased buying because everything that's happening with the LBMA and with the tariffs and everything with this gold prices? Yeah, what are you seeing for your insights?
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely seen an increase in clients liquidating. Now, I think a lot of that is profit taking, actually. So people that have been holding, silver, let's talk a little bit about silver. We've been talking about gold, but if you were accumulating silver at, it started, I remember the low coming out of the last financial crisis. It bottomed out at like $9 an ounce. If you started adding ounces then and now today we're up over 32 US an ounce, you're going to take some profits and you really should
Oh
consider
yeah.
taking profits. We're seeing some of that. On the other hand, you do have new market participants. I think people that are, looking at their traditional portfolio, they're looking at the stock market, maybe they were in the bond market and they're like, you know what, this is just too volatile. I don't know what's going to happen next, so I'm going to go look for a safe haven investment, which gold and silver, that's the most traditional positioning for that investment. And so we're seeing some new market participants there, although I wouldn't say it's overwhelming, despite all the ETF activity, despite all the central bank activity in the retail physical space, it's still like moderate buying and selling happening right now.
Hello, my fellow silver and gold stacker. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching the channel. Subscribe, please like the video, and also hit the notification bell. Keep stacking. Oh, absolutely. Now let's just go scroll, head a little bit back to when we first started talking in the beginning of the interview to the Fort Knox. If countries are storing their gold with America, and then let's say the audit comes, and then they actually don't have all this gold that they say they do, what do you think countries are going to do? Are you think countries are going to start demanding their gold back from the U.S. and saying, "Hey, where's our gold?" And what about people like investors like us, or just new people in silver and gold? Are they going to look at that and be like, "Hey, we really need to have our gold"? But yeah, but what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, it's if there is a shortage when they do the count, and if there's other countries that were using Fort Knox as long-term storage for their metal, I could see definitely countries demanding their gold back. We've seen that with the Central Bank of England. Previously, there's been recalls from countries that want to hold their gold in their own central banks, as they probably should. I don't really
Right.
see a reason why you would store your country's wealth, particularly your country's wealth, in a nation that could lease lend that gold, could do a lot of things with that gold. So, yeah, and what does it mean for retail investors? Look, ultimately, the impact on us, if they go in there, the vault's empty, and the US has to come up with $800 billion worth of gold because they have promises, or even to the taxpayers of the United States, they were counting on that metal being there. Then they're going to have to go out on the open market and purchase it, which is going to drive up the price further. So, if you're asking me what my bet is going to be, I think most of it's going to be there, if not all of it. I think they'll revalue that gold and apply that value basically into their overall treasury in the U.S., which will improve their fiscal situation. That's the likely outcome, but hey, it'd be a
Right.
lot more fun if it was actually empty, and then we could talk about it more for a while.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And before you go, Mark, I really love for people to connect with you. I'm going to put your links in the description below, but I highly recommend everyone watching this. Please connect with Mark. Where can they find you?
Sure. Yeah. swpcayman.com is our website. If you're looking to buy and sell precious metals or store precious metals. Otherwise, if you want to learn about precious metals, if you're new, go to YouTube. Strategic Wealth Preservation. Inside the Vault is the name of the series. Great educational series. We do podcasts as well in places you can learn more about metal.
Yeah, no, I want to thank you so much for coming down here, and I'm going to put the links in the description below. Everyone, I highly recommend you. Please check them out. And yeah, as the market develops, as always, I'd really love to have you back on, Mark.
Hey, thanks, Ivan. Always a pleasure.
Talk to you soon.